Hello and welcome to my channel, Astrospace Tech. In this video I'll talk about English basics start to finish and we'll go over 5 key ideas as listed here. Feel free to jump to any time you're looking for in the description. Also I'll have this presentation as a PDF file in the description for you to look over. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do if you thought this video was helpful. Let's get started. So the 5 key ideas are writing formats and structure, writing sentences, punctuation, English literary terms, transition words, and good and bad things to do in writing. So the first one is writing formats and structure. So what is a paragraph? A group of sentences that relates to one main idea. The sentences are not confusing and sidetracking the reader to another idea. When writing a paragraph, you would indent the first line. So if you're starting another paragraph, you would need to indent. With this example where you see 2 indentation are common when writing essays, and paragraphs have at least 5 sentences. So this is one paragraph right here, and you have 1 indentation because you're starting this paragraph. And then I start another paragraph which is common in essay, which you need another indentation. The main idea of a paragraph is introduced at the start of the paragraph called the topic sentence or thesis statement. You want to be short and straight to the point when creating one. Thesis statements should not be a question or a fact. Thesis statements must make a claim or argument. To know if you wrote a thesis statement, ask yourself, is this a fact or a question? And commonly, there are 3 main types of thesis statements / papers I can write: argumentative or expository or analytical. And why I bring this up is because depending the paper you may write, argumentative, expository, and analytical, you may need to write a thesis statement according to that. And there also are many other types of papers you can write, as that will be talked about a little bit later on. So the first one is argumentative. It takes a side. Example, Curry can beat LeBron in 1v1. Expository, intended to explain or describe something. Money can drive people in good and bad directions, but people like Elon Musk show how we can change the world with simple ideas. And analytical, how something does what it does or why it is as it is. Analyst paper should be answering a how or why question. Example, there are many parts in a machine, but the gear is one of the most important pieces that can be overlooked. And these are all examples of a thesis statement. So that if you don't understand about a thesis statement or a topic sentence, you can always read this. So after your thesis sentence or statement, you should add a transition word, like to begin with, firstly. Once you add your transition word, you should start with your first supporting sentence idea. So after your thesis statement, you have your transition word, which is in blue, to begin with. Then your first supporting sentence idea, video games strengthen your muscle memory. The supporting sentence / idea needs to be short, simple, and not confusing for you and the reader. After your supporting idea, you'll add your supporting evidence. The key idea is to not summarize and go straight to the supporting evidence. And you should be giving examples, reasons, or description to support your topic sentence. The sentence should not be begin a new topic or introduce a new idea. The supporting sentence should be in a logical order. Also in a paragraph, there are usually 1 to 3 supporting sentences for your 3 supporting ideas. The recommended supporting sentences should be 2 or 3 in each of your 3 supporting ideas, and you can clarify with your teacher. So this is a good example of everything that you need a paragraph, just all combined into this little paragraph. You would indent the first line, and then this part would be your thesis statement. Then you have your transition word, and then you would have your first supporting sentence idea, which is Canada has an excellent healthcare system, which would be your first supporting sentence idea. Then you have your supporting evidence, 1 supporting evidence, which is right here. Then your transition word back to your supporting sentence idea, and then 1 more supporting sentence evidence. So in this one, you see is they have 3 supporting sentence ideas and 1 supporting sentence for each of them. So again, they are always different, but the main thing is they always differ between what you're doing. So if you're just writing a paragraph, you may only see 1 per each one. as well as I always said this, ask your teacher. After you're done writing all your supporting sentence/ideas, add a transition word to start your conclusion. The common conclusion transition words are in conclusion or in concluding. To write a good conclusion, refer back to your thesis statement and restate it differently. Try thinking of a conclusion as if you're done doing your research and are trying to answer a question. Do not summarize what you said in your supporting sentences, but make a conclusion statement of your supporting sentences. Answer your thesis statement about what you were trying to solve. Also, do not bring up new information that has not been said/talked about. And this is another example of a paragraph. So now we're moving a little bit over to essays. So there are many different essay types and their structure change. The main thing is their structure change, but they all have similarities. I'll cover on how to write a basic essay, but you may need to do research how the structure looks for these four main types of essays. So again, the structure change, they may look a little bit different, or the teacher may be expecting something different between what a basic essay looks like to what like a narrative essay looks like. So you just got to know what the structure is and when the supporting evidence or where it needs to be. So after reviewing how a paragraph looks like and how it's written, an essay becomes a lot easier to understand. An essay consists of many paragraphs that have indentations as you go through it. The start of your essay needs an indent, then each main idea needs an indent, then your conclusion needs an indent. In your intro, try to hook the reader. At the end of your intro, add your thesis statement. The intro should be about 1 to 2 sentences, and your thesis needs to be 1 to 2 sentences. After your intro and thesis, add a transition word to move to your first main idea. Your first main supporting idea should be 1 sentence. You should have 3 supporting pieces of evidence in each main idea, so 9 supporting evidence in total. You can have 2 supporting pieces of evidence if you can't come up with any more ideas, but make sure with someone if it's fine. You may need a conclusion after each main idea. I would recommend a conclusion after each main idea and should be 1 sentence long. The conclusion should only conclude about the main idea you're on, but not concluding the whole essay. So you're not making this conclusion, but you're making a conclusion for each main idea. Once you are done with all your main ideas and are ready to end your essay, make your conclusion 1 to 2 sentences. Think back how to write your conclusion. So basic understanding of what the structure from all that information is that you would have an introduction and then you have your thesis statement. You would indent that introduction. Then you would have a transition word to your body paragraphs where you would have your first topic sentence. You would have your first supporting sentence idea with your supporting evidence, and then you're concluding. Then you would have a transition word, and then all of these you have to indent, and then finally you would just conclude your final conclusion in the end here. If you don't understand this, you can also look at this, breaking it down. And these were the best sites I found which talk about the structure of paragraph, essays, and just explaining more in depth about what I was trying to explain. So always feel free to go to these sites. So this is the second thing I'm going to talk about is writing sentences. So how to write a complete sentence. Sentences always begin with a capital letter and end in either a full stop, exclamation, or a question mark. A complete sentence always contains a verb, expresses a complete idea, and makes sense standing alone. A verb is a word used to describe an action, state, or occurrence. Example, they ran fast and won the race. A verb is a word that expresses a physical action, a mental action, a state of being. You might find it useful to think of verbs as doing words. The subject of a sentence is the person, place, thing, or idea that is doing or being. The subject is sometimes called the naming part of a sentence or clause. It shows what the sentence is about or who or what is performing an action in the sentence. The subject is most often a noun, pronoun, or noun phrase. A noun phrase. So all of that is really confusing, and it's all about breaking everything down to more simplified and understanding what I just said. So I have a three simple rule to understand how to write a perfect sentence or how to write a complete sentence. So the first rule is, does it have a subject? Example, a person, name, or I. Does it have a verb, doing words? Or does it have a complete thought? Does it make sense standing alone? So out of this, these are the three rules, and if you still don't understand after I explain this, you can always watch this video and we'll explain it even more. So the first example is, I am going to school. I would be the subject, the doing word is like an action word, going would be the action word. And does it make sense standing alone? I am going to school. It does make sense. In this one, it doesn't have a subject, so that's why it's incomplete. So these are sites that these are links I would recommend if you are still confused. So, and also you might come across errors while writing sentences, such as sentence fragments, run-on sentences, and many more. So to fix fragments, you can watch this video. If you're trying to fix run-on sentences or comma splices, you can watch this video. There are many errors you can find when you're writing. You may come across error words that you do not know. To find how or practice your writing skills, go on this site. So this site is very helpful, and these are types of errors that you may not know that you may actually need to fix. So you can always check that site. So the third thing I'm going to be talking about is punctuation. So this is an amazing site that I found that you should check out if anytime you are needing to understand maybe how a quotation works. So for example, this is the site. If you don't understand how quotations work, you simply click them and it explains everything and it gives you examples. So this is an amazing site, but I'm going to explain a little bit about what each thing does, but I would always recommend just having this with you to always understand maybe somewhat what I said more in depth. So for example, period ends the sentence and lets the reader know to catch their breath. Comma can be used for breaks in sentences rather than ending a whole sentence. Also, commas are used for words that need a comma after it. Example, furthermore, also, but, and. There are other ways commas are used as well. Semicolon. It's very similar to a comma. It represents not a full stop like a period. It does not end the sentence, but it's a necessary pause is needed. Most of the time, wherever the comma can go. So what I'm trying to say is, I just kind of messed up there, but the idea is that wherever the comma can go, the semicolon can usually go there as well. And it's very similar to a comma. It's not a full stop like a period, it's a half stop. And the idea is it helps with fixing conjunction sentence, run-on sentences, and sometimes also lets you to pause the sentence or extend the sentence to understand what that sentence means. So the next thing is quotations. Are used to take text from somewhere. Most common are taken from readings like a book or research. You see them often in essays to support your evidence. You can take up to 12 words. That's probably the maximum. Try avoiding unnecessary words. You can put your own words inside the quotation, but you need to put it in a square bracket. And you should not end your quotation and start another one, but need at least one word to separate the quotation. Also, capitalize the first letter of your quotation. So this is an example. In the short story, Bob and Joe, which obviously this is a story, it needs to be capitalized here, and you don't need to capitalize and, which I'll also talk about here, words that you don't have to sometimes capitalize. This is an example. And also known as, so this is kind of like the separation part, so you need one word to separate the quotation before I do another quotation. Joe and Bob by Steve Jeb has. So question mark shows a reader a question and seen in stories the most. Exclamation mark shows emotion or strong meaning to a word or sentence. Uppercase slash or lowercase. Never uppercase after writing a comma, but do uppercase names like mom, sister, Joe, Bob, Canada, and events. Also, if you're referring to a story, put the story name in quotations and address the author's name. Capitalize the author's name and the story name, but do not need to uppercase words like although. Sometimes they can be capitalized at the beginning. That may sound a little confusing. This is where I'm going to explain it, where I already explained it before. So the idea is you do not need to capitalize and right here because you really don't need it and you don't really see it in whenever you have titles. Sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't. So you don't need to capitalize those words. And you just need to really capitalize Joe and Bob. So you can always check with your teacher if you don't understand, but this is about capitalization. So this is an example of mostly what I talked about. So in the short story, in quotations, orange and apples, where and is not capitalized, by Astrotech, needs a comma, the author makes the apples seem sad and lonely. Firstly, where you need a comma, not many people like eating apples, period. So the fourth thing I'm going to be talking about is literary terms. So there are lots and lots of literary terms, such as on this site, on these two sites. But I will focus on literary terms that are important for you to know. So what is a literary term? It helps the writer to write in a certain method that can be identified as a literary term. It helps writing in different ways. Literary terms have rules that can be identified. Why is it even important? It helps to break down and identify what the writer is trying to communicate. It helps to write a very good story/writing. So there are lots of literary terms, but if you can master and understand these terms, you would be set to be a great reader and writer. So common literary terms and sites to find out about literary terms. These are the sites, but this is a really good site that you should check. So these are the literary terms that you should go over. I'm not going to go over this because that would be a whole different video, but I would recommend just going to any of these sites or searching a site on your own and simply go to the site and just find the word that you're trying to look for, and it would just explain everything. So also sometimes watching reading stuff always tends to be sometimes annoying, so you can always watch these videos that I found about basic and things that literary terms that you should know. And about transition words, now I'm moving over to the 5 and the last key idea is transition word / good and bad things to do in your writing. So pretty much I would sit and talk about the best ones, but however, I have these great sites that you can always check out. Sites that talk about good and bad things, habits in writing. Just check these sites about good and bad things and habits in writing that you should do. So this one's about coming up with ideas. Transition words or finding better words, bad and good transition words. Just look at these sites. The one note I have here is for thesaurus is try not picking words that don't fit or you may not know for sure. You should be able to understand that the word that you choose fits. But you can always check the sites for yourself. So pretty much I'm basically done, but I have a little bit extra. So things you start practicing and learning. So after you watch this video or maybe you're done writing something, you should keep this in mind. Write some paragraph and essays and publish them to your blog that you create. Continue to practice your punctuation, spelling, and sentence making skills in online games and quizzes. Read more so you identify English literary terms more, also to become a more advanced reader. Have fun in writing and have fun reading. So these are things that you could do to become a better reader and writer. So now this is my favorite part at the end. So at the end of the day, when you're writing or even reading or doing anything, you may be needing to do something for a project, school, or for something special upcoming. And you would love to, first of all, have things that could help you. this is a great site, and this is pretty much all free. So for example, when I'm going to be doing writing and I need a writing editor, these are the writing editors I would recommend to proofread. If you're trying to make your sentences sound better, I would recommend this site. And if you're checking for plagiarism, I would check these sites. But one key idea I would recommend is that if you're using Google Chrome, always check out Chrome extension. And there is probably one Chrome extension for simply whatever site you're on. You can click on MLA and it will do all the work for you, and all you have to do is copy rather than putting all the information in one by one. This is also a citation generator, and that's what I was talking about, the citation part. And punctuation guide, you can always check this site out, literary terms, and different types of essays. These are my top links out of everything I talked about. I would definitely check this out. So this is my advice if you anytime you're writing. This is breaking down everything you should do. First thing is understand your reading, highlight main points, summarize parts of your reading in bullet points. What are you writing? Paragraph or essay, and what type of paragraph or essay? So what type of thesis statement should I make? Argumentative or expository or analytical? Break your whole writing structure into a visual model where are your transition words going to be? What is your supporting idea? As you write, try to fix any errors as you go. Once you are done, go through everything you wrote and edit your mistakes. Give your writing to someone else or use an online editing system and finish. So now I'm wrapping up, but thank you and feel free to watch this video again to practice your English basic skills, and also just check out the description. I encourage you to write a paragraph and essay of your own choice. Like, subscribe, and feel free to comment. Also an idea of what my next video will be on. It's probably going to be something related to math or tech. Thank you so much, and thank you for watching.